There's no point in looking at a box that's all bent up and smushed and scratched because I had to ship this thing. Ship it? I don't know. I traveled with it in a suitcase because I was at San Diego Comic-Con, but you don't care because we are here to look at the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, so I guess there's a tie in there. Anyway, shut up, me. Let's open this set and see if these things are worth the struggle for a lot of folks that were trying to buy them online. I am so sorry. I guess it pays to be there. Well, you have to pay to be there. It's very expensive to go to San Diego. Don't be too sad if you missed out, because it's expensive. There's going to be a lot to talk about with these figures, but the most important thing is the Rogue head good? Also, why on the back of the box are these renders of the figures and not just the artwork from Marvel Snap? Because we know that the things. Anyway, there's a cardboard insert on this one, which is pretty cool. I hope to high heaven this ain't no AI. You never know these days. Looking at the figures in the packaging is basically what we just saw, but without the cardboard box. So why am I still talking? Let's get them fully out of this. The first thing I want to say is that Hasbro, when they want to do something really cool, they can. Now, we will experience a lot of reused parts between these two ladies, but I guess it's kind of expected, and that's okay. We'll give it a pass. There's going to be some concerns along the way, but I think for the most part, this is a very solid set, and I don't remember how much it was. 70? That sounds about right. Probably worth more, though. Whatever the price was, doesn't matter, because if you can't get it now, you have to pay more. It's not really a good... That wasn't a... So stupid. Anyway, let's start with Sauron. The Eye of Sauron, which looks like this. He's doing his little mind control stuff. Or whatever it is. Look, my only memory of this guy is from the animated series. And then maybe some cards back in the day in the 90s. But this, so far, is an action figure that is worthy of your shelf because they actually dumped a lot of paint into it, and the parts that need to be shiny, like the lettuce over here versus the skin, which has like a semi-matte finish, especially here in the chest, this is looking really good. Yes, I can't get over the fact this looks like lettuce, a salad. This is a salad-winged figure. That's enough of that joke. It does remind me of the Gremlins too, with the salad one. But there's some really nice stuff happening here. Now, I wish there was a little bit more paint on this, like maybe a little bit of white paint for that rope portion, or like a brown or something. That is the least of my concerns, though. Wait, that might be the most of my concerns. Now, he does have pinned elbows, but you know what? We'll give it a pass because this is really solid. He's got that. What should we give it a pass? That is kind of weird. Why are those pinned and then these aren't? Whatever. Love the paint, love the texture, the sculpt is really great. We gotta kind of do this in a way that's better than what I'm doing right now. He's so big. In the box, he does have his tail, which is on a bendy wire, which of course it should be, makes the most sense. And again, looks fantastic. Definitely looks like he's made from plants of some sort. Let's plug that thing in. Ooh, articulation on the butt. So if you like a good Sauron butt crack, you got one. So it does have some nice range, which I think if you're going to do like some flying poses, or if you want to use the tail to help him stand up, you could do that, or get some nice height out of it, which is pretty wild. I actually really appreciate that they did that. If you wanted to see what's going on underneath, there's, well, less paint, but I guess that makes sense. This, I'm happy with. He does come with an effect piece, which will should just snap right onto his beak or his nose or something, right into the nostrils. That is a very genius move. That was really smart. Now it does kind of make it look like it's coming out of his nostrils, but only because we pointed that out a little bit, I think. But I'm very satisfied with this. This is really, really well done. I think an alternate head would be fun, but totally not necessary. The fact that you get these, plus you get an articulated jaw, which works really well. Look at their range. It's crazy. Does the tongue articulate? Does not. So that is kind of a missed opportunity, but again, we'll go easy on them because this is really surprising me. Again, Marvel Legends, when they want to do it, they can do it, and this is proof of it. I am very much a fan. Now, the head seems a little bit loose on that joint, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Much like the tail, he's kind of got this cutout through the upper part of his chest or the lower part of his neck. And it's going to help with some dynamic range. Not a ton, surprisingly, but if you want him in a flying pose, ooh, that might be a little tough. He might have to be kind of looking down, hovering over the savage land. I don't know anything. I barely remember anything about the savage land other than this. And is there any reason to know more than that? Probably not. That is probably the highlight of the set. Now, the articulation overall, I think, is going to be pretty solid on this dude. The shoulders, there's no butterfly joint, but I think we have some pretty darn good range, all things considered. He does have some elbows, which go beyond 90 degrees. The challenge here is, of course, the way these wings are made to really kind of limit what we can do, but it looks so good. Now, this is a winged creature, so I guess you know, any articulation limitations are kind of understood. Now, these were off of the figure when it was in the box, and snapping them in was easy, but they also snap out very easily. So I think you're going to get an incredible wingspan, but just be careful because those are going to pop off. Hopefully that's not for everybody, because this side does feel a little bit tougher. Now, he does have some abdominal articulation. It's not a ton, but I think it's going to be enough for what you need for this guy. You got some legs, rotations, double jointed knees, which, I mean, the sculpt and everything does look good. It is a classic Hasbro knee where when they're bent, they just look super weird, and I will never get over that. They do kind of feel like they're ratcheted a little bit. You got some standard ankles, no toe articulation, but I guess we'll give it a pass. So, is this figure a win? Yeah, I think so, absolutely. That was probably pretty clear from the get-go. You can see the kind of dot matrix style. I always call it dot matrix. I don't know why. I moved the mic, so that probably sounded different until now. This dot style paint work is pretty obvious when you put it into the camera, but otherwise with your human eyeballs, this is great. Really well done. And who else is gonna make that? Nobody. This is kind of as much as I gripe about Hasbro over the last couple years, there are some wins sometimes. This is definitely one of them. And who else is gonna make it? Nobody. You know what I mean? Let's look at Nicole Kidman's what if character if she was in the X-Men, apparently, because I will never not see Nicole Kidman. This is pretty wild, man. I can't really wrap my head around it. Now, right off the bat, I'm seeing like so much reuse on the parts. I mean, basically these bodies were copy paste, just a change of like the top, the armbands, and this glove piece. But the hands, even the extra hands are the same. This part of the boot is different. Whatever. Not a big deal. Let's look at these goodies. Now, she actually has some accessories that I wouldn't have expected, mostly because I have no idea who this character is. And I know that people were putting her with that saber-tooth tiger, whatever his name was, which was a Build-A-Figure. So if you want that partnership, wow, you're going to have to buy, what, 5 figures, build a figure. It's not worth it. Just have her on her own. But this looks good. Pretty basic. There's little details missing from like the scope side of things, but that's fine. Then you get this big old machete. No, I don't know what this is. Just a big knife. And then a spear, which you got to have when the world goes savage. Insert joke. I don't know. That's basic. It looks good, though. Now, she does come with the same stuff that Rogue has, which is some gripping hands for the things that she has. These just kind of action hands, I guess you could say. Like, what are these? They're a little bit different. On by default, she's got some punching hands. Oh, I didn't even think about Sauron just only having his little weird grippies, but that's okay. This is a pretty solid design. I guess we can put the knife in here, so that's pretty cool. Pretty neat. As far as the sculpt and paint, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just a basic female body, I guess. This is probably something that it was reused and then just changed over for the like the clothing portions. I'm guessing. I don't know. I never got that Black Widow figure that people seem to really like, but that's okay. The articulation is going to be pretty straightforward. There's no butterfly joints, so they are definitely going to have some limitation as far as that goes. Double jointed elbows, which work really well. Standard wrist pegs. The head range is pretty phenomenal, honestly. All things considered with the long hair, looking down is a little ridiculous, but we have some good torso range, and that's it. There's nothing at the waist, so that's kind of weird. Berg splits, rotation, double jointed knees, and standard ankles. So everything I think you would expect from a Marvel Legends for the most part. And just so we know, It's just the simplicity of adding paint. Well, okay, paint goes a long way, doesn't it? So that's pretty fun. A little bit of paint in the hair would have added a little bit of depth. That would have been nice, but whatever. Let's move on. This is the highlight of the show now. We finally made it. Let's look at these hands that we just saw, as I showed you a minute ago. So it's like exactly what we had looked at. Same thing here with the gripping hands. So pretty simple. Then her spear is this, well, it's actually totally different. So the thickness of it is different. Not only that, but the top of it, like the blade portion, the wrap, and then of course her little decorative attachment. I don't know, the feathers or something. Kind of really lacking on the paint there. It's a little weak, but at the end of the day, this is fun. Okay, let's move on to the highlight of the show, and also maybe the most controversial part of this entire set is, does the head look good? I mean, or does it look like Rogue? So whether you think it looks good, as somebody commented, who was it, Impossible Pie, you said, well, it doesn't look like Rogue whether it looks good or not. And, you know, I guess there's so many versions of Rogue that, like, well, what looks like Rogue? You know what I mean? Like, you have the retro card, you got the 97, you got all the iterations that even just Marvel Legends has done. This comes from Marvel Snap, but I also don't think it looks like that card art or whatever art you would call the Marvel Snap stuff. When I showed this thing off, when I did the Hasbro booth at San Diego Comic-Con, what did I do? I recorded and talked about stuff. I thought this face looked good, except for from this angle. I still think that's the case. There's something about it. Maybe it's the jawline to the ear that just doesn't look great, but straight on, I think it's fantastic, and on this side is really fantastic, and maybe because most of it is covered up, like that jawline. But yeah, this is a tough one. I think a lot of people are tending to have issues with this, but overall, I'm very satisfied. I like the paintwork on the cheeks. They're doing that dot stuff, which does kind of suck because, yeah, I mean, looking at it here, it ultimately is fine, but yeah, it just kind of looks like a sloppy paint job on the eyes. Again, there's no paint in the hair, which could have added a lot of depth, but there's still a lot of carving going on. Sculpting going on that kind of naturally adds depth to it. This piece here, which just kind of hangs, and her necklace. Beyond that, I think, yeah, these are like identical figures. Even this piece is the same, which she doesn't come with a knife. So I guess if you want to give her the knife, take it away from this girl because she's so loaded up with other weapons, you can do that. Now, I don't know much about this storyline, and then somebody did clarify that she basically has lost her powers, or her powers are weakened in the Savage Land, and that's why some of this applies, like why she needs a spear or a knife. But I think this is a fan favorite, right? For whatever the reason is, I don't know. Now, she's still part of the X-Men, apparently, or still has a little bit of X-Men pride. Now, as good as this thing is, or as bad as this thing is, depending on your perspective, nothing is going to compare to what Mondo has created. Now, that thing, I don't even know if it's still available. It's pretty expensive, but that is definitely the definitive Savage Land Rogue in action figure form. It's 1/6 scale, so it's big, it's expensive, it's not for everybody. That thing is incredible, and in person, it's 10 times even more better. So as far as articulation, I mean, she's identical. You could definitely, just like all rogues in the past, remove one of these things and then do this if you wanted to have a gloveless hand. The skin tone is a little bit different though, so as you can see here, she's got more of like an olive tone and this is more of like a pink undertone. So yeah, certainly different. One of the most important things to know though is that the heads do not swap around on the old rogues with the new rogues, and I know that because Don Who Reviews, as always, Dan W. He made a video, at least on Instagram or something, that shows all of the different sculpts getting attached, and they just don't work. The height is off or whatever. Like skin tones are always off. So it really is. I guess at the end of the day, this is it. So if you want it, this is it. As I just said that. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. And since her powers are weakened, does that mean she also can't fly? I'm guessing? I don't know. So we'll find out if I looked it up when I do my posing stuff. You know, because you don't want to make people mad on the internet and do things that are like, well, technically she didn't fly, so that pose is wrong, because people get so bent out of shape over that stuff. But not you, who's watching this. You're having a good time. You're enjoying this figure. You're enjoying all of these poses and stuff. Also, the power of what paint can do. It can be so easily ruined. Ruined. Oh no, it is ruined. I have a paint splotch. Oh no. Dang it. Yeah, that's I mean, I don't think I'll ever see it because of where it's resting, but it's just above the paint. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. At the end of the day, I think it would be really cool to see a version of this where people are making soft goods, especially this part, just because, like, the plastic, you know, when you do different poses, it pushes up, it looks all goofy. But this is fantastic. So a great set. The Sauron is definitely the highlight out of the set because it's all new sculpt, all new paint, and just a very stunning Dino Boy. Very happy with this. Wow. So what do you think, folks? Is this thing worth whatever that price was? I guess I put it on the screen. I don't remember. Aftermarket price. So what are you willing to pay? So I can list this thing and try to get my money. No, I'm just kidding. If you enjoy this and you want to see some more Marvel Legends get reviewed on this channel, let me know down in the comments. But in the meantime, watch that one right there, which was a very surprisingly great set of figures. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.